Hey managers of the Super Conference, this is your Commissioner Tyler Burkhart here with the season recap for you. It just seems like yesterday that we were sitting down, doing the draft, looking forward to a fabulous season, and boy, what a season it was. I gotta say, this was probably my favorite season. And sure, we're not done with it yet, and we have the playoffs still left. And at this time, I wanted to just sit down and take a look back at what are my top 10 favorite memories of the year. This will be something that I think I'll do every year. Good way to recap the year. And then at the end, I'm going to give instructions as far as end of the year awards. So let's go to the end of the year memories, top 10. Number 10 is the draft. The draft is always fun to look forward to. Probably the second thing I look forward to most every season, other than the first day of football. But things I'm going to remember is Kiln Legend drafting Roy Halou, which, great potential, but it was a fun way to kick off the year. Cleveland having the number 1 pick with Trent Richardson. Los Angeles having 3 first-round picks. And as a result, goes 3-10 on the year. San Fran winning the prize in the Matt Ryan sweepstakes. But in the end, I think we're going to say that Indianapolis certainly won the draft, as there's a reason why he's in the playoffs now and we're not. So the draft is number 10. The number 9 memory is going to be the Charge. And this is kind of focusing on myself. So I was 3-5, season looked down, and I won the last 5 games. Even though I didn't make the playoffs, I made the AFC East very interesting, especially with the last 2 games. I scored over 130 fantasy points. In my mind, it's always going to be the Charge. It was a lot of fun to do, but Yankees still pulled it out, and he deserved it because he beat me twice. Nothing else to say. If I beat him once, I'm in. But the Charge, so close, but not good enough, as I still missed the playoffs. Number 8, Doug Martin exploding for 50-plus fantasy points. I think this is a fantasy football record in our league. I don't think we've ever seen a player do such a thing. And Fargo definitely reaped in the benefits of that game, thanks to the expense of the Minnesota Vikings. So pretty fun to watch there. And Doug Martin looks like a great keeper for Fargo for years to come. So you'll get to enjoy that. Number 7 on the list is the Alfred Morris pickup. There's 2 reasons why I have a lot of fun with this one. Not only it might have been the best pickup ever in fantasy football history. I mean, as a top 5 running back that nobody drafted, I picked him up as a flyer. The thing is, I offered trades like to Minnesota Bryant. I offered Alfred Morris and Laurent Robinson for Titus Young. I mean, think about who he could have had for 3 years if he would have done that trade. That is, if Morris keeps starting job for 3 years. But, I mean, nobody had any idea what Morris was going to do, not even me. But I think the Alfred Morris pickup was also intriguing just because San Antonio I traded him to. And, he was a believer in him this year, and good because he definitely got the benefits from Alfred Morris. So just an interesting pickup. That won't happen every year, but it was interesting for us to watch it happen. Number 6 was the Cam Newton and Aaron Rodgers swap. Really, it was Rodgers for the 3rd overall pick. And I still think this was a great trade for both teams because Seattle obviously got the 3-headed monster that he dominated this year with. And even though they're limping into the postseason, it really helped him get to the playoffs. Meanwhile, we had New York Blackout spend that pick on Cam Newton, who he traded to me for Andrew Luck. So now Andrew Luck is going to probably be a keeper for him for 3 years. And if Luck improves to what we think he will be, that's a huge pick for New York. So it was a win-win swap. Exciting for all of us to watch. And we'll see how that will impact their teams in the future. Number 5 was the Christian Ponder saga. The interesting thing about this is we all knew in the end it wasn't going to matter at all. It was just a matter of principle of how we wanted this process to go. And the funniest thing was it involved Christian Ponder of all people, a player that, who cared about? No one cared about. So in the end, we established the process of when you can pick people up that will impact future years, and that's why it is important. But looking back, it's really funny for all of us to kind of look back and laugh it off, because the saga around it was just, it was too much. way too much. Number 4, the Calvin Johnson trade. You got to applaud Oakland. He threw all of his marbles into one basket, or, invested in this year. And the Calvin Johnson trade really helped him win some key matchups down the stretch. And it was the difference between him making the playoffs and not. So give him credit. He's going to have a hard time getting back into the game this year. But I think overall, that was a huge trade and really pivotal on the season. So that was number 4. Also, I might add, great trade for Killen Legend. He's got 2 first-round picks entering this year, so that should help him out. The number 3 or third on my list is RG3. He was picked late in the game amongst quarterbacks. Tony Romo and Phillip Rivers were picked ahead of him. That's just embarrassing there. And the thing is, RG3, he ended up having 80 fantasy points in his first 3 games. I'm still upset about this because I was 1 pick away from RG3, just 1. But, RG3 just, he put on a show for us. And you got to applaud San Antonio for taking the risk. That's why you got to take players that have that high ceiling. And sure enough, almost got San Antonio to the playoffs, but RG3 could be this year the most valuable fantasy football player. Number 2 for me is what I would like to call the trade. I think when we look back on our fantasy football career, however long this league lasts, we will always remember the trade between Minnesota Bryans and Portland Car Ramrod. In the end, it didn't matter because neither team got to the playoffs, but it was just a huge blockbuster deal that I don't think anybody in the league was really ready for. And I'm actually really thankful for the trade because it made us take a look at is this kind of the structure that we want our league? And after reevaluating, I think we determined no. But it was a completely fair deal that was done that benefited both teams at the time. So in the end, I'm really happy how things turned out. But, I'm always going to remember that trade because I don't think we'll ever see a larger trade than that one. However, my number one memory of 2012 fantasy football is going to be what I call the rivalry between Seattle Sasquatches and San Diego Whales. It was totally worth, any money that can buy to just watch that this year. And obviously, I'd want to win the league. But, how entertaining was it to start with the trade where they swap first-round draft picks next year, to the times they match up, and how close they were to winning their division, to what I call the 3-yard pass to Jeremy Maclin to put Seattle on top with 3 minutes left in the game. We will never see a rivalry as significant as this one, as I think we're all entertained. I hope Aaron and Kyle were entertained too, because it was just fun for all of us to be a part of. So in the end, that's my number 1 memory of 2012. So hopefully you kind of enjoyed that season recap. Make sure on the link there's a Survey Monkey as far as the season-ending awards. I plan on doing this every year, and I'll keep track of who wins the awards as well too. But I narrowed it down to 3 for each category. So vote for who you think should win the award, and in a week when everybody submits their votes, I'll submit who the winners are. So I hope you have a fun time with that. Well, enjoy the playoffs, and best of luck to everyone. And that pretty much will kick off the rest of my recap shows. I hope everyone has a great rest of the year and a great start to 2013. I'm your Commissioner, Tyler Burkhart. Game on.